namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Canto 2, the Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 1, the first step in God realization, and verse number 20. Rajastamobhyam akshiptam vimudham mana atmanah yached dharanaya hidhiro hanti yatat kritam malam. Rajastamobhyam akshiptam vimudham mana atmanah yached dharanaya dhiro hanti yatat kritam malam. Rajastamobhyam akshiptam vimudham mana atmanah yached dharanaya dhiro hanti yatat kritam malam. Synonym, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Rajaha, the passionate mode of nature, tamobhyam, as well as by the ignorant mode of material nature, akshiptam, agitated, vimudham, bewildered, manaha, the mind, atmanaha, of one's own, yachet, get it rectified, dharanaya, by conception of Vishnu, dhiraha, the pacified, hanti, destroys, ya, all those, tatkritam, done by them, malam, dirty things. One's mind is always agitated by the passionate mode of material nature and bewildered by the ignorant mode of nature. But one can rectify such conceptions by the relation of Vishnu and thus become pacified by cleansing the dirty things created by them. Purport. Persons generally conducted by the modes of passion and ignorance cannot be bona fide candidates for being situated in the transcendental stage of God realization. Only persons conducted by the mode of goodness can have the knowledge of the supreme truth. Effects of the modes of passion and ignorance are manifested by too much hankering after wealth and women. And those who are too much after wealth and women can rectify their leanings only by constant remembrance of Vishnu in its feature composed of impersonal potencies. Generally, the impersonalists or monists are influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance. Such impersonalists think of themselves as liberated souls, but they have no knowledge of the transcendental personal feature of the absolute truth. Actually, they are impure in heart on account of being devoid of knowledge of the personal feature of the absolute. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that after many hundreds of births, the impersonal philosopher surrenders unto the personality of Godhead. To acquire such a qualification of God realization in the personal feature, the neophyte impersonalist is given a chance to realize the relation of the Lord in everything by the philosophy of pantheism. Pantheism in its higher status does not permit the student to form an impersonal conception of the absolute truth, but it extends the conception of the absolute truth into the field of the so-called material energy. Everything created by the material energy can be dovetailed with the absolute by an attitude of service, which is the essential part of living energy. The pure devotee of the Lord knows the art of converting everything into its spiritual existence by this service attitude, and only in that devotional way can the theory of pantheism be perfected. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhaktivedanta purports ki jai. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. So the translation again. One's mind is always agitated by the passionate mode of material nature and bewildered by the ignorant mode of nature. But one can rectify such conceptions by the relation of Vishnu and thus become pacified by cleansing the dirty things created by them. So we can see this theme is repeated again and again in our scriptures. Krishna speaks about the modes, there are almost 100 verses out of 700 verses in Bhagavad Gita which describe the modes of material nature or the effects of them. So here we can see even if you are doing other things, please pay attention here because this is a little technical, and I would request that we should go through this purport and actually unpack it line by line, which we won't be able to do, of course, in this 25 minutes, whatever is left. But also, when we talk about Tushyanticha, Ramanticha, when devotees discuss with each other the topics of Krishna, so this way we can discuss this purport line by line with each other and then understand, okay, how do I progress from here? Parikshit Maharaj is asking the question to Sukdev Goswami, okay, please explain to us what is good for all people in all situations, what is the welfare, what will bring the welfare of everyone. So this is the verse where, the verse and Srila Prabhupada's purport, I was thinking, can we treat this as our daily barometer, every day, how our behavior is. And then we take shelter of Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam, as we know, it acts like a GPS. We want to go to a certain destination. We put the destination, the GPS knows our location. And then it gives us various paths, with toll, without toll, on highway, not on highway, avoid highways, the shortest path, whatever it is. So the GPS gives us various routes. Similarly, Bhagavatam here gives various routes. Maybe we might not be interested in, this purport very much. But actually, if you analyze this, it is very, very important purport because these modes are affecting us on a moment-to-moment basis. And that's why I said, can we treat this verse as, and a purport as the barometer of our life on a daily basis? So from here, Sukdev Goswami will start speaking about how the yogi sees, we also saw, last couple of days, the devotees have described that the Ashtanga yoga is being described in these verses. And we see here, Sukdev Goswami starts speaking. 20th verse, you can say, it's a process of abhideya. Abhideya means the process of knowing. How can we establish the process of knowing about the process of our relationship with the Lord? So here we can see, yes, we have to give up the modes of passion and ignorance and be in the mode of goodness. And even at times, give up the mode of goodness and be in the mode of pure goodness. So here Prabhupada speaks about, about the mode of passion, about mode of ignorance, how we should be, Prabhupada actually goes on to say to such an extent that people who are even, impersonalists and think of themselves as liberated souls, actually they are also impure. And Prabhupada gives the reason why. Because in the heart, they have no knowledge of the personal feature of the Absolute. And Prabhupada very kindly has given us this highest benediction, highest goal of, as we have described before, Braj Bhakti in Vrindavan. Braj Bhakti of the Yugala, of the Divya Yugal in Vrindavan. So anything less than that is, Prabhupada says, it's impure. Yes. And Prabhupada then says, yes, after hundreds and thousands of births, what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that someone comes, especially speaking about the impersonal philosophers, that they come to understand the personal feature of the Lord, the supreme personality of Godhead. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Devananda Pandit, when he approaches Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he speaks, Bhagavatam, he says, I want to understand Bhagavatam, but I cannot understand Srimad Bhagavatam. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, yes, if you want to understand and then also describe it to someone else, it can be divided into 3 parts. The first part is the introduction, then the body, and then the conclusion. And then the introduction has to deal with the pure devotional service. And this is the body has to deal with the pure devotional service. And the conclusion has to deal with the pure devotional service. Yes, so somehow or the other, we have to understand that our life should be related to pure devotional service, because we're studying Bhagavatam. And as you can see here, the contrast here is that Prabhupada and even Sukadeva Goswami speaks about the modes of passion and ignorance. So we can see that bhakti is not all black and white. Lots of shades of gray here, lots of combinations of the modes here. And then Prabhupada also says that the three modes predominant: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And as Chaitanya Charan Prabhu very kindly describes us for our own understanding, the mode of goodness is what he calls the mode of contentment. Someone who's in the mode of goodness is nicely contented. Someone who's in the mode of passion, he calls it mode of craving, that we are always wanting more and more and more. So here, Sukadeva Goswami says that when we crave for more and more and more things, when our desires are to get more and more and more things, obviously our minds are going to be agitated. So here, Sukadeva Goswami says that one's mind is always agitated by the passionate mode of material nature. In the mode of ignorance, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu calls mode of craziness. You might have heard this before, but then, as I said, we must apply on our daily life as a barometer, that how much time did I spend on craving today? How much time did I spend on contentment today? How much time I spent on craziness today? So this way, there are three modes, and Prabhupada says 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 9 is 81. There are unlimited possibilities, unlimited permutations and combinations of these modes. And if you understand, yes, our life is also like that. But Bhagavatam gives us the path. Yes, you want to take the slow path or take the quick path. So, quick path, pay the toll of, performing, devotional service. It might be difficult sometimes, but just do it. Just pay the price and reach the destination very quickly. Prabhupada also speaks here about pantheism. It's interesting. Pantheism means, very simply, pantheism means a theory, a philosophy which identifies God with the universe. The classic example close to home is the Aborigines. And Aborigines, they worship the nature. So pantheism, is one which identifies God with the universe, or it also regards, okay, this entire creation, this entire cosmos, this entire universe as a creation of God, as manifestation of God, that you can see God everywhere. Yes, we can see that. And Krishna also says that. In the 7th, 9th, and the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes in many places, that I am the sun, I am the moon, I am the ocean, I am the Uchchaishrava, the horse, I am the Airavat among the elephants, I am the Omkar, which we saw a few days before. Sanatana Goswami Prabhu described very nicely the Omkar. About Omkar, I wanted to say something that I read somewhere, which I'm going to find and probably post on the group. The words AUM actually stands for the Trinity, Holy Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. And I'm going to find, somewhere and probably post it. Hopefully I can do that. So again, the Holy Trinity is representing the three modes of material nature, but they're ultimately coming from Krishna. So from our part, what we can see, Prabhupada is now saying that the verse 19, 20, and 21 takes us from the immature to mature pantheism. Now, what is the immature pantheism? Immature pantheism is where, yes, people know that nature is God, but which God it is, who is God, they don't know. They don't understand that there is a God, there's a personality of Godhead. They don't understand that. But when we come to mature pantheism means what we follow in Bhagavad Gita, 7th, 9th, and the 10th chapter, as I mentioned, that we can see Krishna when we see the beautiful sunrise now. When we drink water, Krishna says, I'm the taste of water. So think of Krishna at that time. This is the abhideya, this is the process which is described. When we see the ocean, I'm the body of water, Krishna says. When we see a horse, an elephant, when we see an ability in man, Krishna says, yes, I'm the ability in man. I'm the word Omkar. So this way, we can actually understand Krishna in everything. And this is what we call mature pantheism. So verse 20 describes the abhideya, and then the verse 21 describes the prayojana, which is the goal, that yes, somehow or the other we should come to the process of devotional service. Now, interestingly, Sridhara Swami is not the Prabhupada disciple, but Sridhara Swami is the original commentator of Srimad Bhāgavatam. He says that what is dhyana and what is samadhi, right? He says, if we confine the mind to one place, it is called dhyana. So when we confine the mind to Vishnu or Krishna, that is the ultimate goal. So, we should be focusing our dhyana on Krishna. But then in his commentary, he also says that in verse 20, he says that passion and ignorance actually destroy this dhyana, this meditation on Vishnu. Because, of course, in passion, we are going to be agitated. And in ignorance, we are going to be bewildered. So we don't even know, who's God. So he says, yes, we want to, people in general also, the yogis, jnanis, even karmis sometimes, or a mixture of, all of these different combinations, they want to come to some conclusion, some final goal. They want to come to this dhyana stage. But then what happens, because the path is very difficult, as we know, the path of Bhakti Yoga is the easiest and most sublime. But for the yogis, the jnanis, the karmis, the path is so difficult. Then when passion and ignorance are added to this equation, that destroys the meditation. So what is the solution? Solution is what Sukadeva Goswami gives here, what Srila Sridhar Swami says, that one should try to purify the mind from the debilitating effects of passion and ignorance. And how can we do that? By fixing it on Vishnu. When we fix our mind on Vishnu or Krishna, his Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, Dhama, his name, form, qualities, beauty, abode, pastimes. When we fix our mind on Krishna and his, different attributes, then we can be said we are in dhyana. We can achieve this dhyana. In 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna this is I've quoted a few times. If you go to verse 21 and 23, 21 to 23, Prabhupada uses the phrase, when one reaches samadhi, of course, Krishna is speaking about the dhyana yoga there, but we can take it as bhakti yoga also, that when we reach the stage of dhyana and samadhi in bhakti yoga, Krishna says we experience transcendental, boundless happiness. Now, this is amazing. You can understand, which is divya, which is completely transcending the three modes of material nature. Not only it is transcendental, not only is divine, not only is divya, but it is boundless also. Imagine experiencing boundless happiness. We have not even thought about it. We've heard in the 10th Canto, where Brahmaji describes the happiness between the comparison of happiness between material and spiritual happiness. That one is compared to the water in the hoof of a calf's footprint. That much water is the material happiness, and against that, the happiness, the spiritual bliss is like an ocean. So yes, boundless, transcendental, boundless happiness. So this is what, when we are affected by dhyana in Vishnu. So this modes actually in our daily life, and when we speak about our daily life and our behavior, these modes are reflected in our behavior from moment to moment. We can see that when we practice spiritual life and we chant Hare Krishna, immediately the modes are controlled. We become, at least in the mode of goodness, if not in the mode of pure goodness. The classic example, we've heard the popular story of Srila Prabhupada in Amsterdam. Prabhupada was quite agitated because of the delay in the devotees preparing for the yajna. There were devotees waiting, there were general public waiting, there was media waiting, and Prabhupada was visibly getting angry. And then suddenly, I don't know whether that person was a devotee or just some newcomer or who would have heard of Prabhupada's teachings. But one person, he said, Swamiji, you said that when the mind is agitated, you must chant Hare Krishna. So why don't you chant Hare Krishna? And immediately Prabhupada took the bead back and he started Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. So this way we can see that if we are in the mode of passion or ignorance, and in the mode of goodness, it becomes very easy. But even in the mode of passion, ignorance, somehow or the other, if you can start chanting and chant loudly, then the mind will be pacified and we will immediately come in the mode of goodness, as I said, if not in the mode of pure goodness. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, okay, 3 things you can do on a daily basis. Yesterday I was speaking to Rajdeepika and I was saying that somehow can we touch the heart of one person every day? Can we touch the heart of one person every day? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives 3 things to us: Namaruchi, Jivardaya, and Vaishnava Seva. So somehow or the other, we have to chant nicely. Namaruchi, we have to develop the taste of the holy name. And then once, as Ayandar Prabhu says, once we chant with taste, Nama Prabhu himself will forcibly come into our existence, forcibly will come into our tongue. Jivardaya, how can we have compassion on ourselves by being Krishna conscious and by helping others in being Krishna conscious? Somehow or the other we have to find means. Prabhupada said that it's emergency. In Prabhupada's time there was emergency, but now the emergency has become more grave with the advent of internet, with the advent of so many challenges. The emergencies become serious, more intense, more grave. So we have to have compassion and we have to go out on a daily basis, somehow or the other, and show compassion and touch hearts of these people. And the third is Vaishnava Seva. So Namaruchi, Jivadaya, Vaishnava Seva. Can we do this on a daily basis? Either one or 2 of any of 3 of them, somehow or the other. This way we can keep the modes of ignorance and passion, quite at a distance, in abeyance from us. So here we can see Prabhupada mentions in the purport of 2nd canto. Will come very quickly now in the 2nd canto, 2nd chapter. Prabhupada says that yes, there are other means. There is Jnana Yoga, there is Karma Yoga, but devotional service or direct Bhakti Yoga is the only absolute and very auspicious means of us getting out of the grip of the material existence. There are many indirect ways, he says. There are many indirect ways, but none of them are as easy as the process of Bhakti Yoga. None of them is as auspicious, Shubhada, as Bhakti Yoga. So ultimately, even if you're practicing Jnana Yoga or Bhakti Yoga, if you meet people who are practicing Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, they have to come to the stage of Jnana Yoga or Karma Yoga or Dhyana Yoga. They have to come to the stage of Bhakti Yoga. And Krishna says, and Prabhupada says that sometimes it can take many, many lifetimes. But for us, the responsibility with us is that somehow, if we can get them connected to a pure devotee like Prabhupada, through his Vani, through his books, somehow or the other, then that person, whether he's following the Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga or Dhyana Yoga, immediately he will come to the platform of Bhakti Yoga, and then his process of Bhakti Yoga starts. We can see in our own case, for millions of lifetimes, we have been frustrated in finding happiness. We made so many attempts, but we have been frustrated. Now, we as Jiva, as we know, are full of knowledge, bliss, and eternity. And that's why, after so many frustrated attempts, we are actually beginning a serious search for the absolute happiness, for absolute truth. Now, we can see the stage of Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagwan into our own lives. We might not remember this, or we might not have gone through this path. But ultimately, when someone is trying to search, people who are following the Jnana Yoga, the Dhyana Yoga, the Karma Yoga, they are looking for Brahma or Paramatma or Bhagwan. So when the search of this jiva starts, because the jiva has been looking for something permanent, for eternality, it first brings him to the Sat aspect of the Lord, right? And that is the impersonal Brahman. Later, the person who's doing the research, he realizes, actually, yes, eternity is there, but also the truth which I'm looking for has to also be understanding the entire cosmos, has to be controlling the entire creation, because otherwise it is partial, it is not absolute. So after understanding, or after at least imagining that the absolute truth, or this energy, this person, whosoever it is going to be sentient, is going to be having some feeling, going to be having the power to oversee the entire cosmos, then that brings him to the Chit potency, Sat Chit, to the potency of cognizance. That's the Paramatma feature. As Paramatma, Krishna, as we know, the three Vishnus are there. They are in every universe, in every atom of creation, in every living entity. So that is the Chit aspect of the absolute truth. But then even that is not satisfying. Even that is not satisfying. And then one understands that, yes, one wonders that, yes, someone who is this supreme, do they have their own name? Do they have their own abode? Do they have their own existence separate from this temporary world? And when this feeling comes, then this feeling will come when we meet a pure devotee like Prabhupada. And then the Ananda aspect comes here, Sat Chit Ananda. So we are looking for something which is eternal. We are looking for something which is cognizant, which is knowledge, and something which is blissful. And then it comes, brings us to the Bhagwan platform. So this way, the karmi, the dhyana yogi, the jnani, all of them ultimately comes to the Bhagwan platform when they come in contact with the pure devotee. Jiva Goswami, interestingly, he says that the perception of the absolute truth, the perception of Krishna, can be of different degrees. When we perceive the absolute truth without any potency, this is Brahma. It's just an energy, just a light, just an effulgence, so no potency. When we perceive the absolute truth with material potency, this is Paramatma realization. But when we perceive the absolute truth with material and spiritual potencies, because Krishna, as he says, I am the source of all emanations, material and spiritual. That is the point of Bhagwan realization. And this is the most complete understanding. I wanted to speak on our faith a little bit, but we are running against time, so I won't go into that. It's very interesting how, even as Jiva, when we have a little faith, and then how our faith develops through various means, and then ultimately when we come in contact with a pure devotee like Prabhupada, the faith develops into us coming into contact directly with devotional service. So I will stop here unless there's any questions, comments, reflections, realizations. Please unmute and share. It's a very technical topic, so I try to break it up and make it as simple as possible. And I only hope that I could have made it, I only hope that I've not confused you more than sometimes, for lack of understanding, we are confused even to study Srila Prabhupada's purpose. Yes, any question or comments, anyone? Okay, so may you all have a very wonderful devotional day. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Krishna willing, we'll see you tomorrow at 6:30 to continue the glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam. Tomorrow evening is, of course, our recounting of memories with Sri Ram Vijay Prabhu. Sunday is Radhashtami. The program begins with Mangalarti in the morning. And in the evening, we have got a wonderful festival starting at 4:30 at the temple. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna,
Prabhuji.
Prabhu.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for the wonderful class.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.